Hey. Oh my goodness. Welcome. It's a new moon. It's a circle. It's a new moon circle. It's a moment. Ay, ay, ay. Um, if we ever needed a moon circle, today's the day. We need to just like cut through the bullshit, get it in focus. Like it's, and the thing is, like, if you think this is bad, like, talk to me a month from now. Talk to me 2 months from now. Talk to me in April. Ugh, talk to me when Mars and Saturn have their conjunction. Like, I mean, we will be talking because we'll need to be talking. But right now, this is the time to, just so you know, I'm eating these very delicious. They're so big, they're like fake. You know, like when you had the fake grapes, like at your granny's house, when she would have the have the fake grapes on the table. You know, I tried to eat the plastic grapes more than once. Like, what do they taste like? They taste like plastic. And they also taste like dusty plastic. Bless you, Grandma. Anywho, this is like the get your shit together moment. This is when you get your things in order so that as this continues to heat up and get more and more complex, meaning this societal situation, this national situation, this global situation, because it's popping off all over the place. Yeah. The last couple of weeks alone. This is September 21st, 2025. And over the last 2 weeks, since our full moon cycle, as we come through, we're right at the tail end of the balsamic moon phase. And so this is like the restful thing that leads right up to the Amavasya, that leads up to the new moon phase. And the live moment that we're gathered right here is we're in the last little thing. By the time we finish this circle, it's like game on the Amavasya. I have to look at the exact timing of the Amavasya. But what's right on the other side, like a half an hour after we finish this circle, thereabouts, is yeah, because this new moon is exact at oh no, this is October. This new moon is exact at 3:54 Eastern, so 2:54 p.m. Um, this thing. That's when the new Central Time. That's when the new moon is exact, but the eclipse begins at about 12:30 Central Time. And it'll go until I think about 4 or 5 p.m. like this. I'll at some point in time look at the exact timings. So we're right before the solar eclipse begins. The solar eclipse is only visible from with the penguins and the people at the southern end of Chile and some weather stations, you know, and a little bit of New Zealand as well. And but that doesn't mean that we're not under the effect of the solar eclipse. So we'll talk about eclipse and how we advantage our time or disadvantage our time during the eclipse. And what we're saying right now is we're right before the new moon. So this is the last little bit of the balsamic moon phase of the restfulness before we get into the spark of the new moon, which means today, yesterday, even the 4 days leading up, could have been a little bit of a sleepy time for you. Now that's really funny when funny, we'll put funny in quotes. That could be really paradoxical type funny when we have like sensational, flamey things shouting, pay attention to me. Things are happening. Literally, your nervous system trying to assess, are you under threat? Right? Are there posturings or positionings that you need to make? Are there things that you need to be thinking about? Because of all the things that we may or may not have, what we definitely have are mechanisms, whole industries fanning flames. It is a time of confusion and disillusion because you have multiple bad actors fanning the flames. And they're fanning the flames because when their agenda is seen, it sells. You know, they need you riled up. They need you under threat. They need you confused. They need you paralyzed in action, thinking, oh my God, this level of threat is so high, I better be compliant. Like if we think about these bad actors and these bad actor industries, you know, uh, media, publishing media, social media, print media, like all the media, straight up like the media of governance. So political media, and then the like controlling of the media, controlling of who gets to say what when, and then you've got the people that are like shouting and screaming fascism, authoritarianism, all the things. And it's like, honestly, they're not helping either. Like if anybody is shouting at you, they're not helping you right now. They might be saying something that really has value. We don't know. Even Team Evil could be saying something of value, but we wouldn't know because everybody is shouting. Everybody is vying for your attention. And it's a type of attention that's addictive. It's addictive because it's going to play into your deepest fatigue, like that ancestral level fatigue. It's just hooking in and then like puts a little pipe in, is like, it's like blowing it up and blowing it up. It is it, and it's hot air. And it's not, okay? It's not nothing. But we won't even be able to discern the something from the hot air if the nervous systems are this jacked up. Also, it's so important that we're focused on the long game. And the long game is vitality, longevity, and your best health. Your actual wealth is your health. And so we're not supposed to be like, oh, it's a crisis moment, so let me just get through the crisis. This isn't a crisis moment. It's like a whole crisis section. And I wish I had a time table for you. I'm sure if I put in a little work and really get like combed through dates, like fast forwarded, looked at the astrology, but I don't, first of all, I haven't been called to do that. And second of all, there's too much on my plate that I got to do right now. And so, look, you're not supposed to know everything. That would be me putting in work, 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 right? I could also use my intuitive tools. So I'll tell you what it looks like when I go in and I try to fast forward through intuitive tools. It's just opaque. It's totally just like nothing to see here. Like when you put the filter in your background and blur out your background. It's like that. Nothing to see. Literally nothing to see. Not smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors is what we get right now. Smoke and mirrors is what we're existing in right now. No, this isn't smoke and mirrors. It's not formed yet. Which I don't know, maybe that's exciting. Quite possibly also that's very scary. Like, what do you mean this isn't formed or forecast yet? What do you mean we don't know where we're going? Yeah, more like we don't know where we're going. Yeah, it's more like we don't know the final destination. We're going somewhere together, all of us. Team good, team evil, team on the fence, team I don't give a shit, team not my problem, team I'm rich as fuck, so sure as hell isn't my problem. Like whatever team you're on, you can be on multiple teams also. You could be like team rich with a conscience, all sorts of teams out there. We're all in it together, actually. We're in the something. We don't know what the final outcome is, and we definitely don't know the timetable. We know a few high-level things, and that those high-level counts are coming from the transits of the outer planets. Because when we want to have insight into the collective, then we look to the outer planets. Pluto in Capricorn, Saturn ruled sign. Neptune in sidereal Pisces. We're talking sidereal astrology here, Jyotish. So not the tropical system. You might get some different zodiac signs and houses and such. Planets are planets. Neptune's in Pisces with Saturn. Both of them are retrograde. That's a Jupiter ruled sign. And then we have Uranus back in Taurus, Venus ruled sign. And Saturn is the one that has the shortest of all of those transits, 2.5 years. So when we start looking to the transits of the outer planets, we see some of the larger themes of humanity, these earth changes that we're in. And then we see some counts like kind of 2020 to 2024. It was like 2019, late 2019 to 2024 was one 4-year section. There's another 4-year section, 2024 to 2028, another thing. 2030, there's some big things happening in the planetary movements then. So, it's 2025. It's the end of 2025. It's gonna go fast too now. And that's just a couple of years until we're at that 2028 threshold. We're gonna know something by then. I've said that in a lot of the moon circles. We're gonna know something by then. And by 2030, we're gonna definitely know what's up. And when I say we're gonna know what's up, what I'm talking about is this American democracy. We're gonna know, like, is it still United States? Or is it the Union of Regional Consortiums? There could be all sorts of things. This could be a very lively, let's see, 2025, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So 5 and some change years. Oh, this could be a very interesting next 5 years for the United States of America. Does that mean that you're going to sit around and do nothing until then? No. Does that mean that, like, ooh, okay, so let's say that 2028 threshold, 26, 27, 2 years, 2.5, maybe, max 3? What could you be focused on for the next 2 years that puts you in position for your greatest health, vitality, and longevity? Can you center that health, longevity, and vitality in a context of social justice? That this investment, this focus, this sadhana, this practice and repetition that you're going to put on wash, rinse, repeat, this focus, this sankalpa that you're going to make in your life, this resolve or an intention in your life, is because what you are invested in is the long-term impact of our social justice initiatives. And that when you heal yourself, you add to that collective battery or fuel. And that's real talk. Now, what we're going to have to address in the meantime is the commodification of the wellness tools and how you're going to have to circumvent and confront that aspect of things you have to decolonize. So you have to reclaim the tools back, situate them in land. So we rematriate the wellness tools themselves back to the lands from which they are from. And we honor the land and the people who were the historical stewards of that tradition and those that knowledge, right? That so we're working with this collectivist view that here we are, the humans of today, and we are in the great abundant inheritance of all who have walked before us. We are the caretakers and the stewards of the wealth of the generations yet to come. And we play an important role because we are alive. Our lives have meaning. And then on top of all of that, there is a rich healing journey, spiritual journey to be had, should you take that up, of the human experience and the earthly game board. And here we are, doing what our ancestors did so long ago, gathering in circles, gazing up at the cosmos and seeing how the patterns and the geometries and the alignments in the sky reflect down here on Earth as if we are intertwined. So this is a very important moment. It's such an important moment to get engaged in the right ways and to be really vigilant about who you're handing your brain over for washing, for manipulating. Because that manipulation by the media, that that asserting control by the government, that is going to increase. And everything that you've been taught kind of depends on when you went to school, but most likely this has been consistent that thus far, if you are an adult, that you were taught about democracy and you were taught some basic civics about how your government works, whether you slept through that class or dialed it in or cheated on your 8th grade constitution test. No judgment. But you were taught a little bit of basics about democracy. You were hammered with, let's say you're American, but I know it's the same if you're British, and it's the same if you're French. You were hammered with a very patriotic, nationalistic history study where your country is the best. And and your ways are the best, right? And we were taught so much about World War II and about fascists and authoritarian governments, because there was an effort of like, hey, let's not repeat that. Let's just build these economic giants, these giant national economies. Let's develop the world differently than we ever have. And I got a little tickle. And we can fight proxy wars and stuff. And we'll still, have conflicts over land and resources. And then fast forward, let's create neoliberal capitalism. So let's just take all the wheels, all the training wheels off the cart. Let's take the brakes off the cart. Hell, let's take the steering wheel off the cart and then send it downhill. Corporations are not people. They can't be held responsible for anything. And we're just going to go to anybody's country and take whatever they want. And then we're going to play these like international development games and we're going to get countries in so much debt they're not going to be able to do anything. We're just going to take their resources even more. Right? So we've been on this crazy political and economic development game that is directly informed by how we were all educated. So it was all legitimized by how we were educated. But we were educated to be and think in a very anti-fascist, anti-authoritarian way. We have this post-war democracy. So inside all that programming, right now it's like glitching. It's like, I'm pretty sure what we're witnessing is bad. Like, I'm pretty sure they said that like this is the lead up. Like, we could look at timetables. I saw a post on social media yesterday of somebody like, okay, so if we're following the timetable of World War II, Nazi Germany, then it's 6 months to book burnings. And I was just like, ooh, ice cold, ooh, straight to the point, you know? And then I sit back and I put that post in a context of inflammatory information. And I ask myself, is that post actually helpful? While it is historically accurate in what it's reporting and its logic of if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck is probably a duck. I get it, And at the same time, it these examples in the media can look like they're helpful and they're actually not. Like that person is also fanning the flames. It's a sensational snippet meant to catch your attention. And in the overarching propaganda machine of the moment, good people, well-intentioned people are also playing into the propaganda agenda. We will now turn a very dangerous corner with this new moon. That propaganda machine is gonna crank up. Nervous systems are not ready. People with nervous systems, they're not ready. You needed to get ready a while ago. A while ago was your chance to get ready. So this is basically like your fucking last chance. So if you're not getting this message from me today, I don't know what the fuck to do with you. Okay? Like this is literally like you need to use these compound moments, like literally the next 2 weeks. You need to use this as your like last ditch effort to really get the foundation in that you're going to stand on because the way it's about to crank up is really insane. The next cranking that's around the corner is economic. Everything we're already seeing is going to continue to increase. Genocide, conflict, starvation, like everything that's already happening isn't just gonna, go away. No, no. It's gonna be there. It's also gonna increase because these are all intentional mechanisms of disruption and terror. And income generating, so wealth generating. In this chaos, there are wealthy people that are making so much money right now. It is disgusting. Beyond disgusting. I don't even know what beyond disgusting is. Revolting, yes. But what this American government will succeed in doing is rocking the global economic boat, particularly through the mechanisms of the tariffs. And then inside of the United States is also this budgetary management issues and government spending. And so we know the inflation bubble is increasing. Jobs are down, employment is down, creation of new jobs is down in the graph. Cost of living is up. The thing that grows in the middle is called an inflation bubble. That thing because those like hands, because it's going like this, so it will make the bubble go big. We just saw this past week also, it was a very lively week. We just saw this past week that they've announced United States government will lower the interest rate, start lowering the interest rate. That's, and rich people are happy. They're gonna make even more money. Remember what the interest rate was at COVID? Remember when the interest rate was way down at like 3%? And people were buying second and third properties who could. Remember they were doing virtual real estate visits. They didn't even care. There's like, somebody walks in, they're like, here's the place. You want to buy it? You know? And they're like, yeah. And then there's all the stories that came after, like people who bought like horrible things because they never saw it. There's never an inspection, you know. Because right now rent is crazy. Cost of living is crazy. You know? So some predictions are there around real estate market being the market that's the bubble that's going to burst, which may actually turn out to be something helpful for people who cannot afford rents. But I don't see it plummeting. Like I need to rent something in June of next year. I'm not expecting it to suddenly be wildly affordable, you know? So yeah, the interest rate is wherever it is right now. So I think it's in the high sevens or low eights or something, 7.95 maybe, you know? And so I don't see it suddenly being back at three, by June. Like, let's see, you know? I feel like we could be having a conversation somewhere. I don't know if this is the space about jobs, about positioning ourselves for the jobs of the future. And when I'm saying the jobs of the future, I might even be talking about 5 years from now, like as soon as 5 years from now. But I have ideas of what those jobs are, and you're going to see me pivot starting next year towards literally training people for these jobs that are coming. And they will be a lot about, response to systems that are breaking. I have a couple fields of expertise. One of them is about healing. You know, so that's healthcare. Definitely, I have a contribution to make there. And the other thing that I'm rather experienced in is education. Particularly like high school and particularly university age youth and like 18 to 25, kind of vibe. And um, education system, yeah, they're gutting that one before our eyes. They're defunding that thing right before our eyes. And so like I'm clear on where I need to make my contributions. I don't need the proof that something is going to implode in the wellness or the education spaces industries. Like that's clear as day to me. So I'm getting out there, getting the education programs that I want to present in healing and wellness, and for particularly healing and wellness for the youth, because I believe we should be training all of our youth as healers. Like this should just be a tool that they have in their toolkit that they'll have for their whole lives of how to cultivate their best health and well-being and navigate their health and design their communal living systems, um, without needing to look for expertise outside of themselves. There will be people who are experts in specialized areas. And honestly, the robots are going to do better surgery than humans anyway. So Other than that, like we're headed towards the cyborg future and the technology future, So like this, like let's just get on to the future thing. hmm So I do think that there's somewhere a space that we could be talking about like where we're at now, our skills, the developed ones, the ones yet to be developed, how we can continue to um, innovate. And so what does that mean if you're retired? Like what does that mean if like you're kind of out of the work game and you're onto another thing? Great question. I think we should be including that in the discussion as well. You know. But that's not this moon or what we're talking about, but just planting a few little seeds while we're here in this energized space. So this moon, remember how I was talking about those outer planets? Ooh. I mean, I think we'll be able to, in a future point, look back at September 21st, 2025, this moon, and be like, mm-hmm, that was when it sparked. Like, that's when it came together. We could see these themes in the collective following. Because all four of those outer planets are part of the geometry of this moon. So this new moon is the sun and moon are in Sidereal Leo in a nakshatra called Uttara Falguni. That's a lot to say with a big grape in your mouth. And it is directly opposite, almost to the exact degree, of Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. Sorry, we're in Virgo. Yeah, I'm thinking because Ketu is in Leo doing the eclipse. So this is Virgo, sorry. Sidereal Virgo across from Sidereal Pisces. Directly across. So you got these two, major slow moving celestials that are like, Saturn's like, you gotta be diligent, slow moving, up service and uplift the downtrodden classes. Man, that's life should be cold and dry. And then Neptune's like, also, there's other ways and creative, dreamy. We could be getting this dreamy, and Saturn's like, it's more like sucking the wind out, again, cold. And then Saturn's like, sometimes you gotta let the thing go for the thing to rematerialize. So we're like, who do we go with? Of course, Saturn's like, you better go with me. I'm the planet of karma. So how do you, like, even when I got dressed today, it's Sunday, so I'm like, I usually try to don some of the colors, of the thing, but really the only thing that's represented are these hilarious earrings. A little bit of pink, but other than that, I felt like putting on like mauve and purple, and it's like I just go give in to Saturn, because it's Sunday. We should be in like yellows, but Sunday is all the colors. But these darker ones are quite reserved for Saturn. I said, this is what I'm feeling. Like I really feel the strength of Saturn as an ally in my birth chart, and I'm really tapping into this rather than just being in some sort of contractive fear state. And so I'm embracing that long-term planning. That's you hear it in my words today, just like, why don't you like pop on out like 5 years, thinking about that health and vitality, your spiritual practice plan, 5 years, but I also named like 2 years. That's not that much time, you know? And so, Saturn and Pisces, we're gonna be with that. for the time we're gonna boot that's 2.5 years. And we shifted into that March. So this is the half year, you know. Then at the end of this like Saturn transit in Pisces, another 2 years. What are you going to be distilling? What in that with that Neptunian influence, what creative, spiritual, embodied design dream practice did you engage? So we got to really find this like meeting place and a little bit of an amalgam of Saturn, Neptune together. What does that mix, that blend look like? How can we get inspired by the best of both? From Virgo is trines. So a triangle is trines. Ariel, I finally understand trines. It's just there's so many concepts in astrology. You can't get it all like when you learn it. And it was just like it wasn't happening. It wasn't like flowing. I got it now. Like you see it. Once you can see the geometry, you're like, it's everywhere. I get it now. Because it's really about as I work with my astrologer, Pamela McDonough of Moon Dance Astrology, as I work with her, like the last time I was with her, she was really hammering, it's the angles. You got to get the angles of activation when you're trying to activate, say, something in your own chart, a yoga, a remedy. You got to get at these angles. We're often thinking of angular as like, uh-oh, that thing is getting activated. That malefic influence is getting activated. It's equally the benefic influence, right? So you go ahead to decide if all four outer planets getting activated at this moment of the new moon is malefic or benefic. Probably a little bit of both. Right? From Virgo, you go straight across to Pluto and Capricorn. I think it's retrograde right now also, which means a planet is retrograde is 3 times the power, 3 times the intensity. And Uranus in Taurus is your triangle. So you got right across from there, Neptune and Saturn, and then you got the trinal activation like this. Then we say, okay, it's all going down in Virgo. So the new moon, the sun and the moon are together in Virgo. And so who is Virgo ruled by? Mercury. So then we also look and see, okay, where's Mercury right now? How's Mercury doing? And Mercury is easily colored by others. And I have to look at the reference for right now because I never like have the chart sitting out. I should just do that. The chart of the new moon, that would be smart. But I'll look up the Mercury reference for you. And well, I'll be honest with you here. A little sidebar thought bubble is I do intuition first and astrology second. So like I intuit everything. And then I look at the astrology and I study the astrology as like a confirmation, like a double check. And just because I find it interesting, it's fun for storytelling. It's always changeful. Like it's always something new to look at. There's like, thank you, Mercury's in Virgo. Oh, well, there you go, because Mercury's in Virgo. So Mercury's in Virgo with, which you think, oh no, well, Mercury's in its own sign, so that's got to be a strong thing. But it's in there with the sun. So if Mercury's with sun takes over and kind of makes Mercury a little combust. Mercury has this quality of whatever stronger planet it's with, it takes on the characteristics of that planet. Like that. Mercury's like the chameleon like this. So Mercury is obscured right now. We're not getting the greatest mental clarity. And on that note, we got this eclipse, which is obscuration. Literally. This is a Ketu influenced eclipse. Ketu is the celestial of disillusionment, of obscuration. So On top of that is the fall equinox. And you can kind of go 3 days either side of an equinox or a solstice. It's not like a super clarifying time. So that's a lot for at one moon junction that we've got real huge and slightly contradictory activation, especially with Saturn, Neptune. And then, well, what's Uranus? Planet of revolution. And what's Pluto? Ooh, Pluto's like deep inner secrets. And also a lot about the people, the masses, and sometimes revolution also. But high changefulness, systems change. So that's what I'm saying. We'll be able to look back at this moon and this time of year a little bit down the line and be like, so that was when all this stuff with the collective like ratcheted up an epic, a real measurable um uh yeah, thank you. Tearing down traditions. That's what I'm looking for. Like, but revolution in that sense of like Pluto is out with the old. Pluto is um, you know, things that have been held in secret coming out. And Pluto's a planet of the people. So what's this all pointing to? Like, what can we start to project, that this is pointing to? If the people are gonna get saved, it's because we're gonna save ourselves. If systems are gonna get dismantled, it's because we're gonna dismantle them and then rebuild them. There are no magical space aliens that are gonna come on down and say, y'all know, you know what, humans, you've been, we're gonna give you those engines that can get you across the universe and into black holes and stuff because you've been so responsible with the technology that you had. And it's just the way you've treated your planet, you've just been so good. The space aliens are like, we'll continue to talk to the ones that are working on their intuitions. We'll continue to invest in them. Earth is a very important place in the universe, but we're not gonna save these guys. There's too many baddies in charge. They haven't figured out how to not be so greedy. They've gone so far from the basic laws that govern. In fact, the greedy people have been so good at obscuration and confusion that the people don't even know what their true purpose is anymore. So those star people, they're like, we got to just keep investing in the ones that are trying. No, trying to return to our celestial way of being. We are also from the stars. They're gonna invest in the ones that are keeping the little candle lit, the little lamps lit, who are keeping the knowledge, who are maintaining the magic, you know? And at the same time, there's so many friends that like have access to the magic, but they're not stable, right? So because we're back at capacity issue. So who wants to help us with the capacity issue? Saturn. Saturn's trying to help us. These people need discipline. These people need simplicity and structure. These people need to understand the plight of the downtrodden. People don't need more, they have too much. They need simplification. So if you just go on ahead and start simplifying your life, getting your practice in order, and then getting your charity, how you help others in order, and then get your health really, really going, Saturn will be happy to help you with your long-term health goals. Well, because keyword long-term. Saturn's totally here to help you with that. And what a nice partnership then of Saturn and Neptune. Saturn's a much softer Saturn in Neptune because what's on the other side was the next transit of Saturn, 2.5 years of 2028 onwards was the next transit. Aries. Mm, I don't think Saturn's very happy in Aries. Mars ruled sign. Saturn and Mars, that's a real dangerous, volatile relationship, which we will see when there's a Mars Saturn conjunction in April of 2026. A very dangerous time. We need to be prepared. You need to be prepared in your body. And I know that I'm preaching all this like rest and vitality and longevity and things like that because I need you to get a foundation of rest so that then we can get into some martial training. You're going to need strength. You're going to need confidence. You're going to need poise. You may need self-defense. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. You might need that. And if you haven't trained it, you won't have it. You'll have instinct. And so your instinct will be fight, flight, fawn, freeze. You better get serious. You better heed this warning. There's not much more time for this. There's not going to be much more lead up time. Like this is the end of the lead up time now. So if you could give yourself the rest of this year, if you could really think about getting focused, getting the things in rhythm and repetition, you know, things will be ratcheting up, but you're going to be ratcheting in. You can get into the inner scape. We had the winter time. We can be in this compound time. So that's what I was saying about this moment right now, even the next 2 weeks. Right after the new moon starts the beautiful Navaratri festival, the 9 nights of the goddess festival. It's the autumn portal. This is the one where the goddess descends here to earth. It's a very special time for those that want to honor the divine feminine, to cultivate that resonance within themselves. But this is not the sweet, sweet goddess who's very sweetly. No, this is Durga with 8 arms and all the weapons, superhero of the gods. Yes, this is how the ego is pummeled and cut off, and all the beautiful things that we read about in the Devi Mahatmya and all the chanting. And this is when we don the goddess's armor. Like, I'm telling you, this is your portal. I've been trying to say, but like my messaging doesn't play into the propaganda mill. And so I know really only a select few people who have a karmic relationship together are seeing that message. Sometimes I'm like, oh, well, I wish I was the type of person that like reached the masses. Probably not. Even if I had that power, like I probably wouldn't even want it. It's super disingenuous. So if there's one or two people that you can share this message with, that might be open to it, if there's one or two people that you can pull along with you, try. Like I try to talk to my mom, I talk with you all. You guys keep showing up. So feel like we're winning here, but I'll be real serious about this time frame. I wish I was wrong, but I know I'm not. So let's give a little bit of bandwidth to Uttara Falguni. And I feel like Pamela really made some very beautiful newsletters this round that you could reference. And that's moondanceastrology.com. She has Substack. And she's out here like investing in these between the Substack and the newsletters. She's giving amazing depth of research on her Substack. It's pretty, nominal monthly fee, like $7 a month or like, but she's really going above and beyond with her research. And this is a moon for going over the ways that you're doing things, depending on the house where it's landing, those themes, and revamping, renewing, renewal. This is a moon that can really inspire new systems, new ways of doing things, and especially like it's an eclipse, cutting out the things that aren't serving you, the people, the positions, the commitments, the relationships, the settings, maybe even material things, that aren't really and truly not serving you. This moon is your opportunity to take that hard look and be a bit brave in cutting out the things that aren't serving you like that. So again, that'll kind of differ from house to house, what kind of themes land for you, depending on where sidereal Virgo is in your chart. My chart, sidereal Virgo, is in the fifth house. So I get all sorts of things from children, creative practice, romance. Yes. Been a while. But also like uh amusements, some aspects of investments, especially speculative investments, is kind of a specific thing. The brain, the mind, astrology is in here. And yes, like astrology is totally infused right now. Children, dance. Something else that's fifth house is mantras. So, for example, at this new moon, at this eclipse, this is an excellent time for me to do an extended mantra recitation practice like this. During eclipses, whatever recitation, prayer, affirmation, meditation, whatever practice we do, it's multiplied times thousands, the effect. So look what we do have. We have a little portal of tomorrow's the 22nd. So we had the 3 days leading up for like the restful thing. And we can say 22nd, 23rd, 24th. These 3 days. So today's 21st. So including today, we have these 4 days that we could really give investment in our practices, this rooting out what's not serving, getting committed to what is, getting practices going, because it's not a time for like business, new ventures, starting new journeys, like new things. Yeah, it's a new moon, but it's not one of those new moons. So think 21, 22, 23, 24. It's really just about practice. But if you would like to extend that, to enjoy the goddess portal that begins the night of the 22nd and goes through the night of October 1st. If you're going to do a 10-day practice, then it takes you to October 2nd. So October 1st, 2nd is your vibe. It does go through the second. Like even when you're doing 9 nights, that takes you through the first. And then the fifth day, the next day, which is October 2nd, is Vijaya Dashami, victory day of the goddess, the 10th day victory. And culturally, it's just like festival in the streets, like, school's out, festival in the streets, in the day. Other than that, since this is a wrathful goddess practice, it happens at night. But if you're going to do 10 nights practice, if you want to practice with the Dasha Mahavidya, then October 2nd night will be your 10th night. Like that. Which would actually make your day 11 something we used to practice in my Sangha called the Aparajita Puja, which would be, it's like a Vijaya Dashami, but Aparajita Puja is the formless goddess. So the whole altar would get cleared and the practice kind of just looked like a party. No mantras, no structures, no puja, no nothing. Yeah, it was basically music and a party. Yeah. We generally looked forward to the Aparajita Puja. Being the bunch of scoundrel pirate young adults that we were. I understand the structure and stricture of practice now. I did not at 21. I was not committed to anything Saturnian at that time. Anywho, so you could, you could just take up the moon portal as one option, So like the next 24 hours, you could take up the moon portal plus like the equinox portal, like this. But that's why I'm describing like 2 weeks. And after that, we come around to the next moon, October 6th. And come October, I haven't looked at that moon or anything. I don't know where that moon is or what's happening with it, but the propaganda machine is going to be cranking up. Some of that is rooted in where this moon lands in the US chart, like very specifically the United States chart. But I don't know if you've noticed that whatever's going on in the States is also going on in England. And some version is also going on in France, and stuff popped off over the last 2 weeks in Nepal, in Timor, in somewhere else I'm thinking of. Somewhere else went to like revolution spark level with government. There's one more might come to me. But like those news stories landed in your inbox that day, and then you didn't really see them after that, but like there's lots of hotspots we know are ongoing hotspots: Ukraine, Gaza, Haiti, Sudan, Mali. Like it's ongoing. They really are posturing and massaging regional conflict in Middle East. And that's something, to be aware of as well, that like it's all the posturing. That one has unfortunately ended up on our, sorry, this silly person. That one,
I got it from Ant-Man's.
I understood. Also ends up on our list.
I got it from scratch.
So maybe this is a helpful interruption to bring it back up from the from the despair of war and regional war and all the inevitable things. I was just saying, to this moon. Let's see if we can distill one or two more things about Uttara Falguni, the nakshatra, where we said like we're being invited for a bit of remodel, right? The things that are no longer serving us like that. But that's because that's connected to the deity of Uttara Falguni. So we'll skim a little from Bepin Bihari's Myths and Symbols of Vedic Astrology. We love this one. So we know that this is I guess the last thing I wanted to say about that eclipse is Ketu is the one inspiring this eclipse, and Ketu is not technically in Virgo. Ketu is currently transiting in Leo, but it still has a directional influence in this moon, and that's why it's in the nakshatra. Okay, so the first quarter is ruled by Leo. No, yeah, right here. Here's the thing. Uttara Falguni, the first quarter is in Leo, ruled by the sun. So that's where Ketu is. While the remaining three quarters fall within Virgo, ruled by Mercury. So because it's all still happening in the nakshatra, that's what makes the eclipse. So it's called like out of sign eclipse because it's just simply out of that zodiac sign. Just the many fractal layers. Leo is a sign of immense activity, whereas Virgo has the ability to develop latent potentialities in humans, including various yogic powers. Because Leo is really about like leadership and power. And clearly, we are in an extended crisis of leadership right now. Yes. The asterism itself is also ruled by the sun. Okay, Uttara Falguni is ruled by the sun. Primary motivation is moksha. La 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 la. So Aryaman is the deity renowned for leadership that presides over it. And one of the symbols is the four legs of a cot, which emphasizes unity. So Falguni, as a unity, represents the creative energy bestowed on the individual soul. The four legs of this cot, it's like a bed, represent the lower quaternity of the human being, consisting of the physical sheath, the etheric double, which provides a channel for the flow of vital energy, the astral sheath, which radiates and responds to emotions, emotional vibrations, and the mental sheath, which enables individuals to think. So that's your koshas. Annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha. That's what those four legs are representing. Manomaya kosha and Vijnanamaya kosha. Also connected to four heads of Brahma, the four dimensions of space, and the four Vedas. These aspects of cosmic evolution provide the arena in which the individual acts and the vehicle through which the individual soul expresses itself. The Falgunis represent the unity existing between the various capabilities of the human individual, which during the course of their evolution are brought into function. Uttara Falguni provides the basic power, the inner urge, the restless energy which can concretize under favorable circumstances. In order to attain this state, there must be many disturbances. Uttara Falguni, presided over by Aryaman, renowned for his fights and leadership, shows the courage and endurance that descend on seasoned fighters who are confident of their strength, the righteousness of their mission, and the final victorious outcome of their efforts. Uttara Falguni is the asterism which enables the individual soul to appear with all its capabilities developed as a result of fighting their way through the realm of matter. It is an asterism of ambition, difficulties, and righteous struggle. Four legs of a bed, the symbol, emphasizes the number four and the need for rest. The four directions of space are indicated here. Within this parameter, the entire universe is enclosed, and the four natural forces operate. Uttara Falguni is its basic energy. In its basic energy is a passive magnetic field wherein the individual soul has the scope in which to operate. The first quarter of the asterism within Leo is ruled by Jupiter. So that's where Ketu is. The solar influence, which enables the divine spark to consolidate, receives favorable conditions for protection and expansion by Jupiter. The four directions, or the entire universe, is provided to the soul for its activities. Depending on planetary dispositions, the person under the first quarter of Falguni does not encounter restrictions. There's a perfect security and immense opportunity for growth and expansion. So Ketu is a helpful influence in terms of spiritual growth and expansion right now. Like, again, basically all your goals need to be about healing and spirituality. Then you will be helped like a lot. So even if you want material growth, put it inside of a spiritual goal. Like figure that out. Yep. The last three quarters of the asterism, which fall within Virgo, so that's where the sun and the moon are, and Mercury, are ruled by Saturn. The second and the third, Jupiter shows up in the fourth. They indicate the possibilities of the individual delving deep into nature's mysteries. The hidden powers of nature, which are directly related to Virgo, find under this asterism the best conditions for their unfoldment. The possibilities of spiritual growth and mental expansion under Uttara Falguni are immense. That impulse that Saturn concentrates on the consolidation of faculties acquired, and Jupiter gives that expansion energy. So we got to get organized, right? We got to cut out what we don't need. The vastness of space causes great bewilderment for the individual who is not interested in playing an active role in universal unfoldment. Bewilderment, right? Confusion. The great loneliness which often arises when the moon is in this asterism is mainly due to the exposure of the human individual with all their limitations to the vastness of the universe and its manifold inner depths. That is a very interesting moment in one's spiritual growth when the the human individual sees their limitations in relationship to the limitless, vastless expanse of the universe. There's something in that pain that's very important for spiritual growth. Such persons like to stand alone and live in isolation, but once they have decided to engage themselves in action, the deity associated with this asterism, Aryaman, assures them victory and laurels in the fight. Uttara Falguni is the star wherein the safety and peace of the individual can be assured only if they are actively engaged in externalization of their inner qualities. Such activities, however, should not be merely impulsive reactions. The Martian approach to life is alien to this asterism. What is required here is well-defined, well-directed effort, as if one is engaged on a battlefield and required to have a clear idea of the goal and a good strategy for its achievement. Yeah, literally, I've pulled the Son of Discs today twice. It's just like, fix the goal. Uttara Falguni has a quality of making a person ambitious, especially when they begin to achieve and feel secure. The vastness of the realm of operation creates dangers in the absence of ethical preparation and spiritual discipline. The danger of meddling with black magic may arise under this impulse. Interesting. If the individual is turned outward, their ambition and certainty of themselves may take them to great heights, but they need well-directed efforts. So no cheating, no power practices to like make it quick shot. You've already got enough blessed portals between the new moon and the eclipse and the fall equinox and the goddess portal. Like you've got so much good stuff. We don't need gimmicks. We don't need shortcuts like this. We can just do work. We don't need power practices. Really that's shortcuts. Black magic, shortcuts. We don't need shortcuts. We just need to get organized. It does. And there is no reason that we can't be having fun. Luckily, Neptune is with Saturn. Honestly, I think Uranus is also a lot of fun. Sudden change, revolution, and innovation. You know? And I'm thinking about Ketu's counterpart, Rahu, who's over in Sidereal Aquarius. The masses, the people. Oh, sorry. I got seed in there. Because these are real grapes. They still have seeds, The people have power. They just don't know it. Because the people are doing the people who are out there, you know, standing up to the system We got to have a different tactic. We can't, it's not about just standing up to a bully. This is a different kind of game. I don't know what that answer is. I don't know what the collective tactic is supposed to be of how to be in opposition to the system that is currently in power. I just simply haven't received that message yet. I don't think it's formed. I don't think there's enough fighters. I think that's what they keep trying to get at here is that, like, literally, there's still not enough strong ones. There's not enough people. What we're being asked to become are spiritual warriors. And there's not enough on the team yet. And it really doesn't help that there's so much bullshit in the spiritual commodified marketplace, dissuading people from anything genuine. You put something genuine out in front of the people, they're not even going to see it. They're not even going to pay attention to it because they're so programmed by the propaganda machine to only pay attention to the flashy thing that has the resonance of disingenuous. You put something genuine out there and no, you will find it'll still be small group. But we got to be okay with that. Whoever has showed up, so many of you are space holders. Whoever has shown up, you need to give them 100. And then work with that technology. Work with these innovations, work with these GPTs, work with these things that will help you with your messaging. Because there's a few of you in the space that are like fucking geniuses at this stuff. Like I'm learning from you, and work with it. Let it do some of the labor for you in how you reach people. And don't put your mental energy into that so much. But when the people are in front of you and it's time to teach, and it's time to guide, and it's time to lead, and it's time to heal, even if it's a one-to-one space. I'm thinking about those of you that are caretakers one-to-one with folks. Those of you that are like, you can't be talking to me. I just work some jobby job. I'm talking to you. Stop telling that story and start seeing the situation through this spiritual lens. It's more than just a means to an end. The universe put you there for a reason, for you, and all that you will benefit right now. If we want Saturn on our team, be in service. And then you got to be in that divine trust that you are in the place. I mean, I had that just now. I said, Ma, where am I supposed to go for my retreat? It was a confusing thing. Turkey's a new country for me. So I want to go to Izmir. And I looked at it and I was like, isn't it just some like crappy city? Like, what? I said, I don't have a driver's license right now. I can't rent a car. He's like, look, you'll be able to get everything that you need in the city. You'll have buses and transportation out for you scouting. You'll have a localized experience. But I want you to be there for the retreat. I kept looking at the thing. I'm like, like, okay. Even when we got here and we came into the place that I rented, I was like, smelly. Because there was an onshore breeze that day and it was blowing seaweed smell, right on the Aegean. And the Aegean is not like where you go swimming, like it's like brown water, choppy, all dangerous and stuff, And so and what has happened here? She's like, God damn it, Yoli, you and your thick head sometimes. I said, I know, Ma. I don't know why you chose me. I'm like the dumbest one, And so I'm caught up in my own like, but it's not luxurious, and and then she showed me like all the layers of culture, this and that. She's like, it doesn't matter what the construct of Izmir is right now. It's the land Just go and connect to the land. And I was like, okay, I'll get over me and get into what you're saying. And I went to sleep that night and I had a very interesting dream journey, like real funky. And I came out and I was like, that was not a dream. And I looked out the window and there's this like beautiful green tree and birds were chirping. And there was just a real calm feeling. And I was like, oh, this is a nice apartment. I'm like, oh, it just feels nice here. We've just had one nice experience. Thank God for Google Translate because girl doesn't speak Turkish and people don't speak English here, you know? And because we're in a place that's not a tourist place, it's just a working class city. You know, we've just met one nice person, generous person after another. And I was like, oh, and we're in a nice apartment, just with like beanbag chairs and like whoever designed this place did everything with pallets. So there's this real like college dorm feel. Like there's paintings, but they just sit on the floor, and there's fake plants with the tags still on them, and there's just all this. Like so at first, if if we stay in our individualism, if we stay, because where was I? I was in my likes and dislikes and preferences and like that. I was wildly missing the point of like Ma asked me to come to this super random kind place because of all the layers of ancestral wisdom and history and knowledge, what's in the stones here, what will be accessed through intuition and dream and meditation. Like, this is the place for me to be during my puja, not because it was a known place or a fancy place or a well advertised place or, a declared place of the goddess. She was like, oh, no, no, that is my place. That has been my place since humans first started settling here and building their seaside town 9,000 years ago, you know? And I was like, yeah, let me just shut up, huh? Let me just stop trying to interpret and interfere in the guidance, right? So I'm just sharing my own lived examples as someone who, I would describe I'm deeply surrendered to the divine femme and really in her service as a life purpose and being, and I stand in opposition to that commitment all the time because I am human. I am flawed, you know. Like we're gonna get caught up in our stuff from time to time. We're gonna get caught up in our likes, our dislikes, this coulda, shoulda, woulda, you know, um, in our like material world goals that aren't actually important, but they sure felt important at the time. So like we gotta adventure in the mystery a little. We have to grow faith, truly, like that. Now, faith in fill in the blank. Faith in self, very important. Faith in humanity, tougher. It's a tougher one. I kind of work on like faith in humanity by way of the ancestors, kind of work with you like through that one. Then we just got the ancestors. Faith in the interconnected web of life, faith in the laws that govern, like faith in the divine. Well, what kind of concept is resonant for you? You know, is it a all-knowing, all-powerful creator God? I'm not judging you. Like, cool. Like, God's easy. Allah's easy. You know? Is it a goddess? Is it just like source energy? Is it an intelligent design consciousness? No divinity at all. Tougher. Not gonna lie. I think that atheist agenda is a little bit tough. It doesn't leave us with much. So like, okay, no creator being whatsoever, but like surrender to the laws of existence. Like the laws of existence don't have anything, because we just covered that in the human handbook class yesterday. Laws of existence don't say anything about a creator God. Like if we want to understand that construct, then we look to like the Agama Tattva. We covered that in the Vajrayana course, the chronology of evolution. Then we understand like where the kind of God concept fits in, but the law is the law of the void, and the void is not personified in any way. The void is a field of potential. This. And we're coming into this time of year for us to kind of simmer with void puja, and then we're really into like the fairy wrath dark end of the year, of coming up to the winter solstice, you know. So it's our opportunity again to visit, Mula Nakshatra, and really get into what is actually seasonal renewal. So, whoo, a lot there. This is a real hot spot moon. And I'm gonna pause my big old monologue here. And I've got time, if you've got time, to we could have a little check-in. And what we've been doing thus far is pausing the recording when we do that, just for honoring um, privacy and autonomy. And I know a few friends feel sad about that. And I get that too, because they're like, but I want to hear everybody's check-in. Like, gosh, if only we had all the time available. So I'll stop the recording here with gratitude and thanks for all the help that's there.